recruiters don't respect, and recruiters HR says I'll get back to you.
We'll get back to is like such a stereotypically
it is,
HR
but
line.
believe me, it is. I mean, you know, a lot of times if you're an HR candidate, you won't even say I'll get back to you. I'll still hear I'll get back to you.
Today we have with us Jasmeen Kaur, Head of Talent Acquisitions here at upGrad. Hi Jasmeen.
Hi Tani.
Appraisal seasons are coming up, and while it's good news for some, it could also be a little bit of a disappointment for a lot of others, and that means job changes. And of course, with job changes comes the new anxiety of, I need to freshen up my resume, I need to go into interviews. So my question to you is, specifically with regard to resume building, if you had the knowledge and experience that you do now, how would you approach your old resume, and how would you go about writing your old resume based on everything that you know?
I think as a fresher, because we don't have much to write, is when we start to use jargons in our resume, and we start to write so many things that we don't even mean, so that it looks impressive to the recruiter. 2-3 pointers more than the paragraphs that we mention make a lot of sense, and that's how a lot of people attach a cover letter to their resume, is because the recruiter first has a look at the cover letter, because I think that speaks volumes about what is written in the resume. So I think just some bullet points about what difference were you able to bring to your previous organization, and what achievements in terms of numbers have you had in the past makes a lot of sense.
So with regard to what you just said, now if I had to reverse this and ask you, what are some common points that are usually lacking with resumes that you receive?
Some resumes to even lack basics, if you ask me. Yeah, a lot of times people do not really find it important to mention which year did they pass out a certain degree. A recruiter is trained to start screening a resume starting from a candidate's date of birth. So if I look at somebody who's like a 1990 born, so he's expected to complete his graduation by 2011-12. How a recruiter's mindset operates. Dates not being there is a put-off. More than that, I think a recruiter starting to think that there's something that the candidate is trying to hide is a clear red flag.
So be very honest and clear with...
Yes. I agree resume should be short and crisp. One wouldn't really invest time in having a look at 5-6 page resumes, because it is putting off for a recruiter, but not as short as it does not even communicate what it is meant to. Second, a lot of times a format of a resume is made where a person would at once mention everything what he's done throughout his career, maybe in 5 employers previously, and then just mention where did he work. So that does not give recruiter enough insights of what has he done individually in each role. And of course, I think 1 page is the most ideal resume, but a 2-pager resume also, as much as it gives the significant information which is needed by a recruiter, makes a lot of sense. I would still say after 8 years of experience that more than what a person has done to how is he representing himself through his resume, person is halfway through. A lot of times I remember where I had come across a CV which I did not even feel like calling, is because suppose you're an HR, right? I mail you my resume, and if I might just write, hi, PFA, and you just check my resume and let me know how it is. It's unprofessional. It's very common these days, but it is a red flag.
So from what as a candidate I'm hearing is, of course, things on the paper need to be in place. I should not be skimping through any piece of information that ideally should be on a resume, but I'm just choosing to not put there. But also I should think of how I'm presenting myself to you beyond that page.
100%.
Because that is definitely going to add to the impression I'm making on you as a recruiter.
100%. A lot of people do not choose to put their photograph. I don't really see any harm in putting your
This is actually a very interesting point that you bring up, because there's a lot of debate around it. There are major Ivy League colleges that would say that do not put photos, because what we are trying to do is we're trying to avoid any kind of selection bias.
I know. So talking about the employer that I hire for, diversity is one of my biggest targets to achieve. Positions I will close. I'm sure manpower will be in place. All of it is going to be okay. But like how we've taken this initiative to ensure all our senior manager and above roles are to be filled by female candidates. That's our agenda for the year, and that's how it is, right? The Ivy League college that we're talking about is looking at it globally. I'm hiring at a national level, and I feel that I am applying for jobs within my country, and I don't really think we should be scared of being judged. Putting a photo again makes it attractive. Not putting a photo also is okay. I mean, I'm not saying there's the most ideal way of putting a resume, but yeah, with photo it shows that a person is trying to put some more effort in trying to show like way beyond what's written on the resume.
I see. So, buzzwords. We've been talking about what a good resume should consist of.
Yeah.
From what I understand and what the internet tells me, there are certain keywords that all recruiters are looking for.
There you go. I think this is so important because I in my family come across my cousins who probably tell me I'm searching for a job since years and I've been on Naukri since 5 years, nothing has got my way. And then we realize that, I mean, I would not put, okay, so I'm looking for Tani. No, I wouldn't do that, right? It's the other way around. It's the candidate, more than a recruiter hunting for a candidate, I feel. It's the candidate who's selling himself on a platform. So the basic search is a keyword search that we put. So I'll just tell you an example of one of my cousins. So she was an MBA HR looking out for a job. While she was preparing her resume, she did not know what to write as keywords. So she started to use keywords like good communication, high confidence, and problem solver. Those are not our keywords at all, what a recruiter uses. I would use that in a different boolean format, that's technical though, but the major keyword that I might look for is recruitment, human resources, talent acquisition. So yeah, so portals also work in a similar format that if the keywords are not relevant to what you're doing, your resume would probably be on the 18th or the 19th page and the position would have been closed by calling people in the first 10 pages. So that's how it works. Keywords are an extremely, extremely important factor for any candidate for creating their profile on any of the job portals.
Speaking of initially going through resumes and with keyword searches, AI it's the talk of the town. AI is everywhere. AI is doing everything from making our daily routines to solving problems. AI is also something that's getting implemented in HR.
Yes.
So how far has AI become a part of selecting resumes or reducing the workload of the initial selection process? And is there a way for me as a candidate to optimize my resume to make sure that it's passing those initial selection stages?
In technical terms, we call it parsing of a resume. I don't want to be relied on a system or a software to shortlist resume, to be very honest, because there's a fear of missing out on a potential candidate personally. Having said that, when you do hirings which are of huge volumes, plus if there are big companies who might not really have a TA team of 100 to 200 people, do implement this. So an AI is designed in a format that the moment I receive a resume, all of the details on the resume starts to get auto-populated, and therefore there are green ticks that I might receive that, okay, this is true, and all of that, right? So that way I feel AI is definitely a very, very good innovation that way. And how much is it helping recruitment? I'd say, I think yes, to a large extent. How much is it helping candidates? Not really.
So just a quick follow-up on this word that you've been using. You used it a couple of times so far, the Boolean search?
Yes, it's too technical, but I'll tell you what it is. So a Boolean search is where an option to put 3 kind of keywords. One is any, the other is all, the third is exclude. Okay. So if I want a person who belongs to performance marketing, digital marketing, search engine marketing, are my any of the keywords. Even if one of these keywords is present in the candidate's resume, then it be picked. Then I go to all keywords. When I say all keywords, if at all I want to pick a candidate from X organization, or maybe I want the candidate to have any marketing term that Salesforce. Okay, so if I want somebody to have an experience on Salesforce as a CRM, I'd put Salesforce in all keywords. So it's a permutation and combination. And when I say exclude, I would say usually we don't put exclude is because it minimizes our population. But so this morning only I was having a call with my recruiter where we actually went out of the way and we put exclude is when we realized that our generic search is giving us a lot of audience that comes from a branding background, who would not be performance marketing. So I'd exclude the term branding or brand marketing, these two words. So this search will give me a result which says digital marketing or performance marketing or search engine marketing and Salesforce, not brand marketing and branding. So this is how it is. So I'd get A or B or C and compulsorily D, but not E or F.
So it's helping you
narrow my search down.
It's helping you narrow
But
your
we
search
refrain. While you scroll down towards the search page, no, there is a lot that it gives me a leverage to pick people from specific companies also. It has current employer, where is the person working? Is he currently working there or was he working in their organization? There are a lot of other ways, but Boolean search gives you very minimum results. So if at all I don't have time to close a position, I have to give my hiring manager 10 resumes by the EOD. So I'm not in the state to experiment. But the most ideal stage is where we don't put a Boolean.
So we've gone over the do's and don'ts of how a candidate should approach their resume. And you also mentioned that it takes 10 seconds for an HR person to know whether this candidate is a fit for the role or not. We actually want to put theory to practice, and we have some resumes here for you. You will be given 10 seconds to either swipe right and select the candidate or swipe left and reject the candidate. So here we have our first candidate and you have 10 seconds to swipe right or swipe left.
Sure. Swipe right.
Right.
Yes. I get attractive towards crisp yet elaborative resume. So very beautifully mentioned which year did he pass out, which degree, talking about his life projects and what has he done in his internship to what has he been doing for years is very, not more than 4 bullet points per experience, and those bullet points do talk about numbers that attracts a recruiter a lot. So I think this resume has everything that it needs, and of course LinkedIn profile barcode, which is very professionally put resume, which I really liked. Yeah.
That's great. Let's see how our second candidate performs.
Okay. This is yet again a complete incomplete resume that speaks nothing apart from his technical skills. So currently working at Walmart as an engineer is something that is not sufficient for us to know. He's not even mentioned about where did he study, what, when, and all of that. It's out and out what languages he knows, and I appreciate that. I think he knows too much. If this is legit, then the candidate has done a real blunder by not updating his resume in the desired format.
And our final candidate for this game.
Yes. So this is a very colorful resume. Right swipe. I think I like the choice of keywords that the person has opted for, and it is slightly loud as compared to how other resumes are, but then giving the benefit of doubt that this guy is a Marcom guy, and that's how he is, right? That's his individuality. He would want to express that in the form of his application. I think shouldn't be a red flag, and usually marketing applications are very colorful, jazzy, fancy. So but yeah, very well put resume. The choice of font also is something that pleases your eyes. I think, yeah, this is a right swipe.
That's actually interesting because this is quite a lengthy resume, right? It's 3 pages.
It is, but I was very intrigued to go towards the last page and read more and more and more. So when you say it's a long resume, despite being a lengthy resume, it has a lot of headers to it. For example, like what he's done in his previous 3 organizations are very crisp, and he's marked those data analysis to branding, new ideas, all of these words in bold so that it can catch my attention. And the format of his resume is towards the left when you look at what keywords has he tried to tell the recruiter loud that I possess these skills, and he's rated himself on the scale of 5. And in the below, awards, leadership, interest, certification, and especially the choice of logos that he's had. So this is one resume, even if I take 30-60 seconds to screen, I'd love to.
That's great.
I hope you were convinced.
I was. That was actually a lot of fun. Really unexpected answers. Really unexpected swipe rights and swipe lefts. Something interesting that stuck out to me as somebody who's a fresher as well as somebody whose CV has yet to see a lot of level upgrades, was that there's no hard stop to just one page. That's actually quite a surprising piece of information to me.
You mean one-page resume?
Yeah, because usually we are always told, right, that don't exceed.
The
Like, don't
IIMs and
make it.
IITians are told that, yeah. When you make a resume, or probably when you apply for a job, think from the receiver's end. If you're on the other side of the table, how seriously would you take this application? Right? So, of course, one-page resume is the most ideal concept, but the world is not that ideal. As much as your resume is eye-catchy, attractive, you yourself have a smile on your face while you read it and you know, okay, this is what I've achieved, I think that is a clear right swipe. Too much of
But
gyan?
no, not at all. It's actually very important gyan. I'm sure that this video is going to be extremely helpful for anybody who's looking to switch jobs, as we discussed in depth right now, for whatever reasons, but also perhaps after a bad appraisal. I think that appraisal season usually comes around with a lot of changes for a lot of people. And I'm sure that this video is going to help them and guide them with their new venture. So thank you so much, Jasmeen.
It is a pleasure being here.
This has been great. And this was a lot of fun.
I know,
So,
likewise.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, how does a person who's on the receiving end of the pressure deal with it? Is there something they can do to prepare for the pressure, or is there something they can do when they're in that situation? So, how would that look like?
To calm yourself, if you are not able to come up with answers, if you're feeling a lot of pressure in your head, and if you're feeling sweaty, tell the person, can I just fire a second? Have the gulp down pressure and answer. And that is where you move from the unknown to known, fear to confidence.